Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Command List. Playing on the left-hand side of the screen is me, Raging Demon, and my co-host. Playing on the right-hand side of the screen is Chaotic Jim. It's kind of got me mixed up because we're in the same room and he is on the left and I am on the right, but I'm playing on the left and he's playing on the right. It's kind of all messed up. It's messing with my intro. That's fine. It's not fine, though.
I know. It's hard to deal with. I don't like change. It stresses me out. But we shall persevere.
Yeah, so just a little bit of housekeeping. So I just want to mention the Patreon tiers. So we've got the backwards compatible tier. So what's going to be happening is out at the end of July, only the latest 15 episodes are going to stay up. The rest are going to go behind that tier for $1. So that leaves a good 6 months of episodes being up. So you can catch up and you don't have to panic and listen to it straight away. You should be able to get through the back catalogue by then. And like I said, any one episode will start for about 6 months. So it's just taking the older episodes and putting them behind that tier. And then we got the, what else we got? We got Discord access and full episode catalogue. And then for the closed beta tier, we have everything from that tier, plus the spin-off episodes I do is usually 1 to 2 shorter episodes per week. It will be no less than 1, obviously, and polls about content, and you'll get respect as well. So you'll get our respect. You'll get a shout out, right? So we do have 2 new patrons to shout out. So I'd just like to give a shout out to Chaotic Jim, who is now a patron. So,
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like it.
So I have to fulfill the obligation of the tier and give him a shout out.
You want to see the pain on his face doing
Yeah.
that. It's brilliant.
And we have Dave on the Dave tier. Give him a shout out. He's the only one on that tier. He was the first Patreon, so he gets his own tier. And Richard Jago has just joined. So thank you very much. It means a lot. I appreciate it, and we'll just keep striving to have better and better content with a K. So yeah. So Jim, what you been up to?
Work. Essentially.
The end.
I've been watching a lot of The Messenger, which is fucking hilarious. Not playing, but, basically, not much. I haven't had much time. We did do a big camping trip recently, so recovering after that. Camping with a bunch of teenagers and little children and, that kind of thing. It can be a bit draining towards the end of the trip, but yeah, other than that, not much.
Yeah, it was a fun camping trip, actually. All of us and a bunch of primary school friends, actually. It's been a long time. Yeah, we've known those guys ages. Yeah, so that was really awesome. Yeah, I've been playing The Messenger, and Cara Jim's been watching and laughing at some of the dialogue. It's pretty funny. Also started playing a game called Dinkum, which is like an Animal Crossing clone, which is hilarious, but it's set in an Australian setting. And unlike Animal Crossing, you can be killed by a shark or a crocodile or a cassowary.
Much like everyday life here in Australia. It's everything will kill you. So, yeah.
And you get funnel web spiders in your bug net instead of just like...
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, which are actually quite venomous. So, yeah.
Don't touch. If you see a spider in Australia, unless you have developed like an immunity like I have to certain species, don't play with spiders. Over a decade now, I've developed immunity to the spiders that lived in my shed.
There's a bunch of spiders with bats and balls, all really disappointed that no one will play with them now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, what are we talking about today? We're doing our first literature review. We're doing a book today. So, I've mentioned this book before. Keith from The Main Quest got me onto it several years ago. I believe it was him who brought it up when I did the Mortal Kombat 2 episode on The Main Quest. And... I've been on it, people to read it. Chaotic Jim's read it 3 times. I've read it 1.75 times, according to Audible. Read, quote unquote. I don't do readings for nerds. I do listening to books.
I don't have enough fucking time. I
fall asleep.
Well, I just can't justify sitting there doing nothing but reading. Like, I'll put on an audiobook and then I can still do other shit that I have to do. Like I'll be, right now, plans or schedules or budgets or, what have you. And I've got that playing in the background. I just can't sit there for hours and hours and hours reading. So, yeah, audiobook, it's the only way I can actually enjoy it now.
And what are we reading?
We are reading, it's a bit of a history, games history. I do like it, but this goes way back, like before, video games and consoles were what we even recognize as sort of first gen.
Yeah.
This is back to pinball machines, essentially, and a little bit before it.
Kinda, yeah.
So we're listening to Long Live Mortal Kombat, round 1. So it's by a guy named David L Craddock, and it's top notch. Like, nothing but good things to say about it. It kept me fucking entertained, that's for sure. And I can be very picky about the books and audiobooks that I read. Like the narrator they got for it, brilliant.
Yeah. The only thing he doesn't quite nail is the toasty.
Oh,
yeah, he doesn't get that right.
He fucked that right up. Even the tone, even the cadence he used was just fucked.
Oh, we're being
No. That's not the book's fault. That's the performer's fault, right? And you can't really get the same sort of.
Yeah, it's tough to do.
Yeah. Like anybody other than Ed Boon saying "Get over here."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It just hits the ear wrong. So
Yeah.
I listened to it back to back to back.
Yeah, and we've not done a book before, so I mean, I'm there might be some mild spoilers. I mean, everyone's pretty familiar with. Well, I'm guessing everyone's pretty familiar with the basic history of Mortal Kombat, but this goes in pretty deep.
Fuck yeah.
I thought I knew shit about Mortal Kombat before I fucking read this book / listened to this book. So it's actually goes into incredible depth of the development of the first 4 games, mostly the first 3, right back to Midway's roots in pinball machines and that sort of thing. So it's in a nutshell the deep dive into the development of the franchise and the creators Ed Boon and John Tobias, and how they created it. Right?
It not only goes into detail about the creative side of it, it also goes into like the characters, like the tiers.
Yeah, the arcade meta, everything.
Yeah, and it interviews players from the eras. When they were doing the local arcade scene, and then when that died off, and then it goes into all the arcade emulators and ROMs, and then now into the online meta through
Xbox Arcade, I think it was.
yeah. What is it? Ultimate MK3 Plus, or I forget. What was that? Mortal Kombat 2 Ultimate Plus or something. It's basically made by a guy who was a fan and then knew nothing about programming and decided, fuck it, I want a better version. So he learned programming, and now they use it online for competition use.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild, some of the stories in this book and some of the insight. Like the console wars, the censorship. I mean, let's start. What we were talking earlier. What did you really enjoy the most of this book? Like, let's get into it. I mean, I don't think we're spoiling stuff, to be honest, because we're never going to do it justice. You absolutely should go listen / read this book. But yeah, I mean, some of the stuff with the actors and just you were mentioning to me earlier today. Dan Pacino, Johnny Cage.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what? It kind of reminds me of a bit of a charlatan,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
It reminds me of, I don't know if anybody out there's, fight fans, MMA fans, but there was this guy that weaseled his way into a fighter's, career at the later stages. And this guy was a bit of a free thinker. He sort of did his own thing. And this guy was like a lifestyle coach. And somehow, next thing you know, he's training the dude like he's his fucking striking coach and all kinds of shit. But it was almost like a cult sort of leader.
Yeah, well, at least Dan Pacino is an actual martial artist, though. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but the problem is the crew he runs with,
yeah,
they call him the fucking leader or whatever. He's their guide or some shit. It's almost like this guy's got like some sort of little cultish sort of group thingy, and it's fucking weird. Like the guy just screams, I'm gonna manipulate you and fuck you over. Right. So he learned some martial arts, somehow got tied in with Mortal Kombat. I think it was through Liu Kang's character, that actor who,
Ho Sung Pak, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a legit. He was on the cover of Blitz. He was about.
Oh,
yeah.
So they trained at the same gym, and somehow this guy got involved because they wanted a Van Damme sort of lookalike, and he fit the bill. And next thing you know, he's running around saying, I'm a co-creator and all this kind of bullshit. And it went to court and everything. And I didn't know any of this. And now I'm looking at Johnny Cage from MK1 and 2, like, what the fuck?
And then he got completely. He got shut off. Yeah, killed off for number 3. Yeah, killed off for number 3. Yeah. It's just the little things like that, or even just the things about the stage show, or like the difficulty Nintendo. This is where what I find I find the censorship and then the stuff with Sega and Nintendo absolutely fantastic and fascinating.
Oh yeah, Nintendo, fucking hell, like
throwing Sega under the bus every chance they got in front of the politicians in those Senate hearings.
Yeah.
Oh my God, just like yeah, but Sega did this and and we're a family-friendly company, and they're also selling gun attachments for their games and shit like that, and yeah.
It's fucking wild because without Mortal Kombat, you don't get like the rating system, right? Because a lot of games, if you made them and they were too fucking brutal, you got two options. Back in the day, you get an X rating, essentially, which means nobody's selling your fucking game, or you don't make it.
Yeah.
So, they went out and they were like, shit, we got to do something about this. So they got together with a bunch of other companies.
EA and
and they
back when EA were okay.
Yeah. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
And they basically drafted off of
made the rating system.
Yeah, drafted off of the film and advertisement guidelines and their rating system. Said, all right, we can do this, this, and this. That is a grey area we can talk about. And this one, no. Fucking absolutely not. Not happening. So, yeah, that's basically where that came from, which kind of fucked us over.
I mean, we kind of knew about this a bit more because we had a shitty rating system too. We had one premier in South Australia who wouldn't sign off because this was a federal thing which needed all the states to agree on. And he just kept holding out like a fucking big dickhead. And it held back our rating system because the highest rating we had was M.
Yeah.
Right? So they had to try and fit Mortal Kombat, Grand Theft Auto, fucking Manhunt, Bully. They had to try to fit all these games into this M rating. And I'll tell you what, I was pretty impressed with what they could fit in that M rating, right?
Yeah.
They accommodated quite a bit before eventually they went, no, we can't. We need an MA and an X. Or R, we've got MA and R now. And X, but yeah.
The wildest thing, right, is that it took really that fucking, what was that spray painting game?
Jet Set Radio. No.
No. It was like, I don't know.
You do spray painting in that, don't you? Jet Set. Is it Jet Set? Right? Yeah.
I got no idea, but it wasn't that. But it was this fucking spray painting parkour type fucking thing. Nobody was going to play the fucking thing anyway, right? The 90s was fucking dead. Nobody was dressing like, you know, fucking, what's his name? MC fucking Hammer or Vanilla Ice or fucking whoever. The 90s were shit. But
Well, people thought they were getting rid of the 90s back then. They're not cool like they are now.
Yeah, they were trying to put a bullet in the 90s. So nobody was tagging shit, spraying up fucking trains and bus stations and shit. But this game came out, Mark something, I think, and it had, the whole game premise was
Tagging.
Yeah, climbing up buildings and tagging shit. And basically they slapped an R rating on it because they're, oh my God, the children, they'll see this. And meanwhile, Grand Theft Auto released like 6 months earlier, and yet somehow, like, I think it was GTA 3. And then this released like 6 months after that, and they said, no, spray painting, no, that's fucking bad. And it went through all the court systems and appeals and all the rest of it. And the game didn't end up getting sold, but it kicked off a full change in the rating systems over here. And next thing you know, we got San Andreas.
Well, we're on a bit of a tangent with the rating system, but like we were talking about, was it Stick of Truth? How we had a special version in Australia of Stick of Truth.
Look it up. It's fucking awesome.
Go on YouTube and look it up, because they inserted special stuff just for Australia for the stuff that got fucking censored.
Yeah.
And it's very funny because it didn't ruin the game. It probably made it actually better. But
yeah, because you still get the sound.
Yeah.
But you don't get to play the scene out, and you get a special little reminder that you live in Australia and you can't see this shit.
Yeah, it's a load of crap now with the internet the way it is. I bought Mortal Kombat 9 off fucking Amazon and had it shipped to me.
Yeah.
Nice work banning it. And it worked in my PlayStation, no problem. Yeah, it was such a load of bullshit.
So we would have got it anyway.
So Craddock goes into all this sort of detail from the start, all the ratings board, how they had to pre-build fucking cabinets because they couldn't, just even the supply issues with trying to make cabinets for MK2.
Oh, fuck.
They had so many orders and so much to do. To physically make all the cabinets was actually a massive challenge for them.
And the shipping.
And even the cartridges from Nintendo to make sure they had enough to release on, it was Mortal Tuesday, no Mortal Monday. Yeah, the SNES board didn't need that many cartridges for the first game.
Yeah.
So then it's a good thing they didn't go in and buy too many of those. So yeah, because that port was fucking garbage, and they talk about why it was garbage.
You know the best thing about that whole episode, right, is they were so limited on arcade cabinets that they were converting WWF cabinets, WrestleMania cabinets, right? So they would say, all right, we can't do it right now, but what we can do is ship you a new board and update it.
Yeah.
So it'll be, a WrestleMania cabinet, but you will at least have MK2. That's how fucking tight and how limited they were on their manufacturing.
Just run out of stuff.
Just run out of shit. They took in way more orders than they thought they were.
Outsold Street Fighter 2.
Outsold everything.
Yeah.
They fucking killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's quite an amazing story, And in the console wars, that initial port of the Mega Drive, the Megasys, the Gena Drive, it was basically Nintendo really let Sega into the fucking console. Like, they basically, what did they have at the time? Fledgling Sonic, and then this, and then that really started to give Sega momentum. They wouldn't have got anywhere near as much momentum if this game if they hadn't tried to censor Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat, so much.
At the time, and a bit of background on Nintendo at the time is they were trying to get, what do you call it? It's the, they basically wanted to control, what games were made, essentially, and they were
5 titles a year too, maximum.
they were trying to control, oh shit, I forget the name, exclusivity, right? They wanted to own developers in that sort of capacity, not actual by the companies, but at the time, these developers, they're not massive companies, right? They're more than likely running on a shoestring budget. And
They're almost going broke every time.
Yeah. And Nintendo were basically, grabbing them by the short and curlies and saying, "No, you're gonna do what we say." And people just threw their hands up and went, I'm sick of this shit.
This game
Fucked.
This game was the first time that Nintendo had given in on anything, really, when you think about it. Because they had to let Mortal Kombat 2, and you can see Mortal Kombat 2 is the better port is the 32X, but that no one owned a 32X. So that
Nobody speaks of that.
no one fucking had one. So the Super Nintendo was then the unofficial best port for that era, right? And it should have been the best port for the first game too, but because Nintendo fucking screwed the pooch on that one, and then that really backfired on them, that gave Midway all the cards after that with Nintendo, and that was quite a big turnaround in the power dynamic between developers and console makers. Because at the time, right, arcades were huge, they were strong, and Midway could have still fucking made bank without even making home ports.
Yeah.
So,
and not only that, like Midway, at the time, they had a bunch of properties, right? They were fucking killing.
They had the WWF/WWE license, NBA.
Who doesn't love NBA Jam?
It's a fucking sick game. Yeah.
He's on fire.
Yeah.
But without that kind of, I don't want to say like demanding sort of authoritarian type of structure. I mean, they probably wanted exclusivity just because they thought they could, steer games in a certain way that would more closely fit their brand, right? And that's fair. That's fine. That makes sense when you're the fucking developer, right? But they forgot the key thing in negotiation is the other side, they've got input too. And you can't play tennis with one person. So if the other one goes, fuck ya, I'm taking my racket and going home, you're left without a fucking product, right? Which is the fucking game. And you piss people off eventually. Well, I'm a bit like this anyway, but you piss me off, I'm out of spite, I'm not going to work with you. And nothing you can do will change it. So the crazy thing is why they thought they could bully people, especially after launching MK1 and seeing the business that was hammering out in the arcades. How they thought that kind of tactic was going to work without driving them to other consoles is beyond me.
They really became that legitimate second player in the fighting game scene too. They were the first ones to go from more than just a clone.
Yeah.
Like legitimately more than just a clone.
Yeah, shit, yeah. Midway, they were the next ones. Like you had Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Like what else did you have at that point? And this is in like 94.
Yeah.
So this is, a couple of years before Tekken and Virtual Fighter and, they're
King of Fighters, the SNK. But SNK was still considered that imitation of of Street Fighter still.
But yeah, King of Fighters, they'd only released, 93? Is that the first one?
No, it's 92 or 94. It's the one where Terry's Team Italy. Yeah.
94.
Yeah.
So yeah, they weren't even really a competitor at this point. You hadn't had KOF 96 or 98.
Yeah, 98 being
Yeah,
one of the OG best ones ever,
yeah,
right? So, yeah, I mean, KOF was still like Street Fighter, and I like KOF, and KOF to me is every bit as good as Street Fighter in many ways,
yeah,
but it ultimately wasn't different enough. It didn't have its own thing going on, and everyone goes on about, and they bring this up in the book, even people who competitive players in Mortal Kombat were saying, it's a game of gimmicks that turns out to not be about gimmicks at all.
they made sure that the fundamentals were there. Balancing is always hard in video games, right? But they went into it consciously giving people tools, right? And let's be honest, it was the first one they worked on. A lot of the people from Midway, they were from the pinball division earlier,
Yeah,
right? So they hadn't had a lot of experience when it came to games. Maybe they worked on a couple here or there, but like basically their drive for MK1, not drive for it, but they they wanted to make a game that was out there. They wanted to make a fighter. They wanted gimmicks, and they had a very clear vision of what they wanted to achieve,
and they wanted it to look realistic.
which is where the motion capture came in, right?
Yeah, the digitized sprites look fantastic on the arcade hardware and pretty good on the home ports too.
Yeah,
And fucking sublime on the Game Boy
yeah,
and Master System
yeah.
and Game Gear.
The the wild thing is, right, after they did this, they tied in with a lot of studios, right? And they ended up with a motion capture, essentially like a subcontractor type group, you know, because they were at the forefront of that kind of, film to digital sort of transition. It was absolutely fucking wild.
Yeah, they weren't the first to do it, but they were the first to master it.
Yeah.
And this book goes over so many things you don't realize Mortal Kombat were the best or the first at. Take their launch. They were the first ones to do a worldwide launch on all platforms for home consoles, right?
Yeah.
Mortal
Oh,
Monday.
right, yeah.
And they were fucking militant on making sure it all came out at once. And it was on Monday.
Yeah.
A Monday, so everything had to be done properly, and they couldn't give the cartridges too early because someone will break release, right?
Yeah.
So they had to time that perfectly, and they had that was Sega, the Sega cartridges coming from Mexico,
Yeah.
and Nintendo insisting on making their own cartridges, and they had to pre-purchase all of the cartridges from Nintendo too.
Yeah.
So and make sure there was enough of them. So that it was a very impressive marketing feat too. So it's not just a success for the original creation of the game, the digitized sprites, all of that magic. It was also every team was kicking ass.
Yeah.
Even the people making the ports, except for Sculpture on that first port, on that SNES port, they did fucking knocked it out of the park on the second one.
Yeah.
And then you've got this more even sort of console war where MK2, Ultimate, MK3, they're all pretty much just as
Yeah.
good as each other's. SNES version superior with the voices and the colors and stuff. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, the games have very good arcade translations. And that was one of the first really well-made ports for the home after Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I played Samurai Showdown on SNES and Mega Drive.
Oh.
I played Fatal Fury on Mega Drive. Those games are not like the arcade machine.
No.
Not
No.
at all.
And this is something I didn't know, right? Because the development staff within Midway who were working on MK2 were the pick of the litter, right? So after MK1 and the success that had, Noob Saibot basically got, they got the run of the place. So
Yeah.
they'd walk through and, oh, this guy's doing really good work. We'll have him, pack him up, ship him out. And pretty much everybody who was on that project, they were either fanatically interested because they, loved it, loved the first one or whatever. They were really talented, or some other drive. Like, they were the top the top guys that were at Midway at the time.
It just sounds like it sounds hard work, to be honest, but it sounds like
Yeah.
a fucking cool place to work and a cool crew to be with at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just seeing how the games they go they hit the big time, and then Mortal Kombat 3 comes around as well.
That gets brought up too.
Yeah,
That's one thing that the book spends a fair bit of time on because, well, depending on how old you are, you might not remember the release of number 3, but it did not go smoothly. People did not like it. There was kind of like a half-half. Some people loved it. Some people fucking hated it. How dare you leave out Scorpion? What the fuck is this? Where's Johnny Cage? All that. Who the fuck is this horseman thingy? And why is this fucking Shokin wearing a mankini? All of this kind of stuff came up at the time, and it was not long after that numbers started to drop off. This is like a Street Fighter 5 type kind of scenario where people are kind of looking at it like, what the fuck?
yeah, and they had to fix it.
Yeah, which is where, Ultimate MK3 came out.
Yeah, and their exclusivity deal for PlayStation
Yeah.
over the Saturn was broken as well, because all of a sudden there's a new game.
Yep.
And it's not exclusive anymore.
Nope. And there was just enough change in there where any challenge
would be unsuccessful.
Probably the juice ain't worth the squeeze on that one.
Well, and also there was enough precedent set by Street Fighter 2.
Making 17 different.
Yeah, but with the Mega Drive and the SNES having different versions of the game. Not the same. They didn't. Not one of them had the same title. The SNES had the original Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, was it? No, I'm trying to think of what the first one on the SNES was. The Mega Drive had Hyper Fighting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or did they have Champion Edition?
The new challenges.
Yeah, no, but they had Super Street Fighter 2, but the SNES had Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Hyper Fighting.
That's a different one.
That was the Genesis.
Yeah. Thought so. So they got away with, and those are very small changes.
They're fucking nothing.
Yeah. Speed it up a bit.
Slightly different colors in the logo.
Yeah. Change the black guy to the white guy in the intro, and or was that the arcade? Yeah.
Oh, that's something else that I forgot to bring up as well. The guy that played Jax?
Oh, that's very interesting. It's a great story, by the way.
Yeah, the motion capture, the actor who played Jax, bodybuilding. He was an actual bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And he was coming in.
And was actually in the military.
Yeah. And not only that, he was just going into his competition season. He was like fucking a month out.
Perfect for it.
Perfect fucking timing. And as soon as he walked out onto the motion capture, studio, he was like, fuck yeah. Everybody just knew, like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And this was all intentional, right? Because they had tried to find a character fitting Jax's profile, right? Right from the initial concept art of MK2. And then, lo and behold, hang on, I know a guy.
Yeah.
And bam, you've got a professional, or amateur bodybuilder here. He's getting ready for competition. He's like fucking 3 months out or something. And then by the time shooting comes, he's in.
Well, was it Dan Pacino that got him, though? I think it was. Yeah, he was like, showed him the game, and then he goes, there ain't no brothers in this game. That's the only problem with it. He goes, we're working on that.
Yeah, we're working on that. And next thing you've got this jacked, awesome looking dude walking out on stage, and he's ready to tear some heads off.
What I liked about the game is, and he talks about this in the book, is the lore building. and the way it went way beyond Street Fighter, and it gave you more. And even just in the second game where Sonya and Kano are chained up, it explains their absence.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like it was nothing complicated. Like,
You know,
it was just
why's Jax here?
to get Sonya and probably kill Kano. It's over, Jarek. The good guys have won. But Kano.
Yeah.
They do talk about Mortal Kombat 4 too, by the way. Yeah, obviously later. So,
but you know, they talk about not just
Craddock talks about, and his guests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Oh,
He gets interviews from developers or the actors. He even interviews the psychologists who were violent video games are, making our children try and kill people. And he interviews the psychologists and the people who wrote those studies and then people who counted those studies, and everything that revolves around any of the controversies. He tries to talk to the people involved, and when they don't respond or they shut him down or wave him off, he'll say, look, I sent him an email and they stopped replying.
Well, didn't one of the senators that owned a department store that sold the game that he was
Yeah.
that he was campaigning against?
Yeah, what a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you know where a lot of your money comes from? That fucking game.
Oh, and we could go on and we're paraphrasing the book, but it's fucking, you've got to read it, got to listen to it. If you like MK at all, give this guy your dollars, because it's a great book. I couldn't recommend it more.
It's not, as far as these things go, it is not expensive, and there's a lot of meat on the bone. Like, I was laughing my ass off at some points.
Yeah.
And they talk about the guys having fun in the office and, developing characters. And
even how Toasty got him. Your story about behind Toasty
and Madden or some shit.
Yeah. No, let's let people listen to that one for themselves. But yeah, it explains so much that you were like, what the fuck? Even the secret characters, like it explains, the creation of the secret characters, and I'm not gonna ruin that either, because that's a great story. Like,
even talks about how to get the secret characters on different consoles versus arcade, and why that is the way it is.
Yeah,
and you just don't have one unique Konami code for all of it.
Yeah,
it's he did his research. He done a
even
brilliant job.
The Pink Floyd stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously they put Floyd in MK1, and I did put up a post on Patreon of me killing Floyd from a while ago. What was that, like it was last year or something, was it?
Might have been early this year.
Fuck that guy, I kicked his ass.
A pink ninja, sounds pretty fucking stupid, but that stage is fucking fantastic.
Yep, and now it's on my Xbox.
Yeah, that is a fucking good looking stage. And, the character's not bad either. Bit of a dick, but yeah, no story or anything. And I don't think you really need to include him in everything, but hey, fucking.
Oh, the movie too. Talk about the movies.
They go into the movies and all the spin-offs, and they talk about the comic books as well.
Yeah, you used to be able to write in from the arcade. I remember that on the arcade machine. It had the advertisement for the comics.
Yeah. So, up until everything to do with everything up until the end of UMK3 is included, like fucking everything.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 4. And in fact, this is volume 1, right? So he's called it round 1. I would like to see him do the next era, because that could be a spicy. We got some speculation of why he hasn't. I don't know. He's never. I don't think he's answered it. But yeah,
I think I'm pretty close to the mark on why it might be a while, if ever. But this guy, if you ever hear this, bravo, sir. Keep plugging away. You're doing the Lord's work.
I think a lot of NDAs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of sucks, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of comments from those who wish to remain anonymous in this as well. So, and he says, well, they said this, that, and the other thing, but I'm not sure, or yes, it sounds plausible. So he gets their comments and then, how he would interpret it. But when he's saying those things, it makes it clear who is saying what. Right.
Yeah.
So if it's his opinion, he states that it's his opinion. If it's a statement by the company, he makes it clear that it is that statement. So there's no cross-pollination.
Yeah. You know what? And the fact that there's a book like this for Mortal Kombat and not for Street Fighter.
Yeah.
There is stuff on Street Fighter, and there's probably a book on Street Fighter, but this is so comprehensive. It really goes to show you how much of a beloved franchise Mortal Kombat really is, and like the people were obsessed with it.
I had no idea it had this much of an effect.
Yeah.
At all. I knew, politicians don't like it. Our
parents didn't care.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't hit each other, you'll be fine. Oh, did he just rip that guy's head off? Yeah. Why would they make a video game of that? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, don't you guys do that. And that was it.
But our mum never once looked at a fatality and went, I think my kids will do that.
My babies.
If I let them play this game.
My babies, they're going to take their hat off and then set someone on fire.
Or fucking use it like a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave Craddock does not get enough props for this book. And I know it's a bit of a niche. We're in quite a niche, but Mortal Kombat was not a niche back then.
It's part of
it. It was popular culture.
Well, gaming has become such a large part, right? And they break down the state of video games, right?
Yeah.
At the release of each game. So MK1, well, they kind of seen it as toys and it's stupid, tiny little industry, very niche. And then MK2, it's like, well,
advertising on TV and films.
It's a little bit bigger, and now we've got, characters dressed up and Ed Boon's on Jay Leno and shit like that. And then MK3 is like, please let us advertise, and it's part of media history now, right? This is like the birth of a rating system, shut down a lot of controversy. There's a lot of change going on in media at the time.
Yeah.
And this is part of it, whether people like it or not.
It's such an important thing in video games that even people who don't like fighting games take for granted.
Yeah.
The trail that was blazed by Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. And if EA hears this is, when you release MK2, that's what happens when you leave the developers alone. Stop getting involved. Just let them do their thing. This is what happens, right? They get the resources and they make a good game.
We might one day do an episode on EA's good games from the old days.
Oh, that was so fucking good.
They made some crackers back in the day. They made some.
I used to love them.
Yeah.
They were fucking awesome. It's like,
their story about making their own cartridges for the Mega Drive, fucking even that, reverse engineering the cartridge.
And it's kind of like, you've been with them for so long that they've just gotten bitter and now they drink.
You forgot why you hung out with them in the first place, right? But yeah, we should look at that. And I don't know. I don't want to say too much more about it. I actually just want people to get out there and
read it, listen to it. This guy, he's done a hell of a job.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's as strong as ever. I know people have been sort of a bit flat on the MK1, but it's still a massive commercial success
I like
and a very good game.
I like how he talks about the different scenes
Yeah.
and how they played it in different parts of the world as well.
Yeah.
Like in Russia or the UK or, even different cities within the US.
They would drive to other cities to fight people, yeah.
Yeah, and then they'd beat them in MK2, and then they'd have a fight in the street. So just he goes all over the place, interviews a ton of different people. If you've got a passing interest,
Even ketchup and mustard are in it.
Yeah, and if you've got a passing interest in gaming, it's worth it. If you're interested in fighting gaming, definitely fucking worth it. You won't regret it.
Yep.
Except for maybe, when he says toasty, you kind of shit the bed on that one.
Yeah. Well, it's got on Goodreads a 4.12. I would give it a 4.98, and that 0.02 would be for the mispronunciation and lackluster version of toasty.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I mean,
That's a performance.
did the guy Reddit really play it? I don't think he did.
Yeah, you can only work with what you got. You get a shit, effort, then can't blame.
No, but the rest of it's really good. I love how he does Fink's accent. He does it. Yeah. He the only book I reckon is, well, not the only book, but a book that's really well voice acted is World War Z.
Yeah.
Not the there's a version that isn't, but there's an audiobook version that's got like Mark Hamill, and it's a and nothing like the movie. The movie's kind of like, but yeah,
I prefer the audiobook just because of the differences.
Command List Book Club. That's all. Yeah, that's your next assignment, children.
Yeah.
What was it? No, after Mortal Kombat, Long Live Mortal Kombat. Yeah, that's it. That's actually a pretty. I've been meaning to go back to that one too. So, yeah, I think. Want to wrap it up there?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, get on the Patreon, everyone. I'll keep plugging the shit out of it. Trust me.
Yeah.
We're getting shirts. We're getting shirts. We're not selling shirts, but we're getting shirts. So, just saying.
Yeah, I want to get one of the tags. That I'm not gonna lie, it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah. So we may be looking at that, but yeah, that's just for us. We're just having a bit of a brag about it.
I can get the guns out. So,
and so don't smash your controllers. And should I have a crack at the Ed Boon get over here, or should I just leave it for him?
Yeah, leave it for him. It's a bit late here, and you don't really have the
he's challenge accepted.
He's got he's got a bit of a certain amount of fucking oomph behind him when he says it. It's just leave it for him. Otherwise, you'll end up like,
you just hurt yourself. You embarrass yourself.
Yeah. You'll just be an embarrassment.
Yeah. So thanks for lifting. Thanks for lifting, everyone. Thanks for listening, everyone. We love you all. And we'll see you in the next one.
Have a good week, guys.